and a pretty good sized chunk of money. Cooper, take me through Denver from the standpoint of how many times have you been there? Have you been able to get into Denver in the past, or is this your first time?
This is my third year, sir.
Third year? You were 82.5 a couple of times in a couple of preliminary rounds. You were fourth coming out of the third semifinal. Take me through a couple of other rides here. Let's watch this right here. This is you on zipper trick in your bracket. 82.5, finishing third. Tell me about this horse.
This is cool electric horse here. She's only about 14 hands tall, but she's got big shoulders on her. And in the videos, you can see she kind of wants to have some moves right out of there. But if you kind of dig it right into her second jump, she'll stack it up and do exactly what she did there. And you just got to keep rolling, and she feels really cool, especially right here around this corner. I kind of tucked my chin right around this corner, set my feet, and I just started letting them roll. And she just kept kicking, and I just kept spurring.
Yeah, and so now let's watch another bucking horse called Banger Maine. I think this is another 82.5. This was your semifinal, right? You were fourth in the semifinal, so you just got out of the semifinal. They took the top four, and that got you into the championship round where you ended up winning it. Tell me about this ride.
Dude, this horse is really big. She's about 17 hands tall, and she's got one of them withers that we're talking about. But she, being that big and long, you know, they kind of want to have some drop to them. They never want to kind of get underneath themselves. See, she's kind of wanting to walk on her front end right here. And when she walks on her front end, when she comes around this corner, it'll move that rigging left and right and kind of set you off and put you right on her backbone. And when they put you on your backbone like that, they kind of want to get you sat up. So all I just had to keep is when she come around this corner, all I had to do is keep my chin and kind of keep throwing my feet. Because if I didn't, she would have sat me up and bucked me off there.
So you went from a 14-hand-high pony in your bracket to a 17-hand-high draft horse or close to it in your semifinal. Cooper, I feel like I've had a chance to kind of watch you ascend to the point where you're really starting to become a bareback rider that people pay a lot of notice of. Got to see you last year in June win the College National Finals title. Now we're watching you and talking to you about Denver. How do you feel about the progression of what you've done and what you've been able to get done the last couple of years?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I was down in New Mexico my first year, and my coach down there, he really got my mental game set right. I was coming out of high school, and I won the high school finals, state finals, in junior year and senior year. I just barely made nationals, and so I was kind of fighting my head. And so I went down there, and he taught me a lot on just kind of being assertive and keeping goals set and all that. And so then when I come up here to Marvin Garrett, he just changed about 2 or 3 different things on my ride. And then ever since then, I just been working on them 2 or 3 things. And the stronger they get, the more consistent I ride, and it just feels way better.
You know, you could do worse as a bareback rider than having a college rodeo coach named Marvin Garrett.
Gosh, dang right.
I mean, you know, he's what did he teach you about technique, and what were you able to learn from him about the intangibles of, you know, the things that you just kind of have to do even when you're not on a horse to be a winner and be a champion?
He preaches on a lot about feeling, and so I broke a lot of horses back in high school, so I kind of already had a feeling of a horse. But, you know, some horses don't feel good, kind of like that Banger Maine. And even like this horse, she don't really feel that good because she doesn't want to come back into you. So you got to really try to throw your feet back to your rigging and set them hard because she's only getting about 2 inches off the ground walking on that front end. And if you're not driving your feet, your hips into it, you're going to be behind. But I got on some horses back in college rodeos, and you know, they scored me 82, and it didn't feel like 82, and it didn't really feel like it looked that good. And you watch a video, and it looked good. And Marvin Garrett, he always preached, you know, as long as you keep trying your 3 basic things: chin down, lift, set your feet, and you keep beating them to the ground, you should make a dang near perfect ride every time on the horse that you got.
Cooper, I have to ask you about an old rodeo superstition. You're not supposed to wear yellow. Well, you're not one bit afraid to show up in that yellow felt hat and that yellow vest we saw and the yellow chaps. You sort of defy superstition. Tell me the yellow story.
When I was in high school, my dad makes chaps, and he made me a whole pair of yellow chaps because he had a free pair or a full hide of yellow. And he's like, I don't know if you want to keep doing this, so here's your first pair and see when you want to stick it out. Well, I won my first 5 high school rodeos, and some gal in the stands comes up to me and she goes, you know, yellow's bad luck, right before I rode at my 6th rodeo. And I was like, I don't know, man. I just won the last 5 rodeos, so it must not be too bad of luck. And so the hat kind of come from Jeremy Unruh. He whatchamacallit, he started making hats, and he asked me if I wanted a hat, and I was like, "Can you make them certain colors?" And he goes, "Any color you want, man." I said, "Heck with it, why not? Let's try yellow." So 3 years ago at Denver, he just got it done right before, and I shaped it up and brought it up to Denver, and was 86 points, my first time ever, first ride ever in it.
So let's think ahead. Obviously, you would love to go to the National Finals Rodeo this year if you can. You're not into a lot of the big winter rodeos, the big Texas swing rodeos. You didn't get into San Antonio, didn't get into Fort Worth. We'll find out about Houston and Austin and San Angelo and those as time goes by. But let's think about the end of the year, Cooper. What would define a really successful 2026 for you?
Just consistency, kind of like this, I didn't really follow the best out of everything, but I also didn't fall first, and I think a lot of it had to do with the way I kind of got my horsemanship going, not trying to gas them as much as I was doing 2 years ago, just kind of going slow and building my ride. And so I think if I could just stay consistent on getting through the tough ones, see this horse right here wasn't supposed to do that. I think I dug her spurs into her, and she kind of sat up, and she kind of surprised me. That's why I screwed up the neck there, because you're supposed to kind of run off and whatnot. And I just think if I can keep kind of making horses that aren't supposed to be the best, or even the horses that are supposed to be really good, just be the best they possibly can, and I'm the best that possibly can be on them, we should succeed in goal making the yellow chutes. College champion in 2025, National Western in Denver, champion in 2026, and who knows what's next. But I'm going to tell you right up top, folks, I'm a fan of this young man. I think he's got a bright future, and I really enjoy having a chance to visit with him behind the scenes. It's been a little bit of fun to have a chance to get to know you, Cooper, and I wish you a lot of continued success. Thank you for your time today on Western Sports Roundup. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thanks, Cooper. Cooper Philippek joining us. He was a bareback riding champion in Denver. So a cool story in the barrel race. And the barrel racing story that I want to tell you is about this lady, Heidi Gunderson, down of Minnesota, futurity trainer, school teacher, and now National Western champion. And we'll dig into it with her coming up on Western Sports Roundup.
to take it to a place like Denver?
You know, I really make a lot of runs on them. They're futurity years. So it's not that this horse hasn't been in high pressure situations. He definitely has. He just hasn't been in front of like a performance crowd like you see in Denver before. He's made a lot of runs and just been super consistent all year long. He won $350,000 last year as a 4-year-old. And we wanted to see how he would do at the rodeos. So when I took him to Odessa and he spooked from the barrels, I thought we have a lot of work to do before Denver. I had a couple days.
What did you do? How did you fix whatever went wrong in Odessa before you got to Denver?
I just knew, you know, we had time to get into the arena in the morning, and I knew that it was going to be really important to try to make him confident in there. I didn't know that I'd done a good enough job doing it, but like, you know, to get him up to the edges of the arena, to walk around in there and just try to get him to relax, because he's pretty uptight about everything that's going on, and they're doing mic checks and speaker checks, and you know, he's paying attention to everything except for the barrels. The first run, I knew I just needed to keep him in the middle of my reins and of my legs, and it probably wasn't his best run, but he still made a decent run to qualify us, you know, into the semis. But he was looking at everything. He was looking at the crowd. He was looking at the banners. He was trying to get away from the guys that were raking, and I just was like, just keep him right in the middle, because he's going to jump sideways at any moment. But we did it, and then he got more and more confident the more runs he got to make in that pen.
I just can't imagine throwing a leg over a horse like that and being at the National Western, or like wait till you get to San Antonio when you have to make the long ride from where you park to the arena. But hey, I'm gonna just clarify this too, Heidi. You're not a stranger to rodeo. Obviously a 3-time futurity WPRA world champion, but you've made the Badlands circuit before, and you've had the opportunity to ride some other great horses. Tell us a little bit about your rodeo experience up to this point.
Yeah, so I really started out kind of in amateur rodeos. Met my husband, was a pickup man, you know, a bullfighter and a pickup man when I met him at the amateur rodeos. And from there, I kind of took it into, you know, bought my permit, failed my permit, went to the Badlands Circuit Finals on RC Black and Famous the COVID year, and that was really exciting. That's the only time I've really kind of gone for it. I'm usually home training horses and that kind of stuff. But when we got this horse, we just know he's something special. And so I went to the qualifier and I thought, well, we'll try to get him in there. And we did. And I wanted to ride the mare. I have a mare that complements him very well, and she has more experience. She has rodeoed. Last year, I rodeoed on her a little bit. She placed in Deadwood, won Clearwater, Minnesota, you know, got second at a couple others. I don't know. I went to like a handful of rodeos. And I probably could have made the circuit finals on her had I tried and went to a couple more, but I didn't have near the count that I needed at all. So it was kind of a lost cause because we were at the fraternities. But with those two horses, I kind of feel like this might be the year to give it a try. So.
Heidi, are you ready for Steve's dumb question of the interview? We all watched a Palomino named Adios Pantalones do real well at the NFR last year as a 5-year-old. Did you watch any of that and think to yourself, I could do that? I mean, was there what inspired you to think, obviously, aside from the fact you've got a really, really, really nice horse, what inspired you to give it a try?
The lady that owns both of these horses, she's from Oklahoma. Her name's Shannon Kulseth. You know, she has really encouraged me to give it a try. There have been a lot of people calling, you know, to buy this horse, and we want to see what he can do because we believe in him and we think he's great. And I mean, compare him with Adios Pantalones, whatever you want to, but I think he's wonderful, and I think he has the potential to compete with anybody out there, and I hope I can show that.
So obviously champion at Denver. Now moving forward, what other rodeos are we going to find you at in the next couple of weeks here?
That's a big question. So I didn't have barely any money won for last year. And let's see here. I went to, Odessa, and that money counted, and I didn't win anything there, but the qualifier money counted in Castle Rock, and then this money counted. So I think we have like 11,000 won. We're going to go to Rapid City next week. And February is really hard for me to get away because my boys are wrestlers. And
I hear they're really talented too.
They are really talented, yes. So they're both going to be college wrestlers, and I don't want to miss, sections, regions, national tournaments, state tournaments. So I'm going to stick around home beginning of March, February, and then we'll see what I can get into. Hopefully I have enough money, to get into Austin and maybe go to San Angelo, see how that works out. I think the horse will tell me where we're going to go.
Yeah, it's probably the best thing to do is just listen to your horse. Okay, last question. And this is, you sort of started to answer this. But you're a mom, you're a very busy futurity trainer, and now you're dipping your big toe maybe as much as you ever have into the rodeo world. Talk about balancing all of that. Cassie Mowry's mastered it. Trisha's done really well with it. There are some very successful futurity trainers that we're seeing cross over into rodeo. How do you manage all of that and manage your time?
On the drive home from Denver yesterday to Minnesota, I had a lot of time to think about that. And my answer to that is I really needed to talk to my husband and see where my family stood on being gone, because that's hard for me. I like being home. And so I don't see myself going to 100 rodeos, but if it's God's plan to get me to the NFR, it's going to happen, and I'm not going to be able to stop it. So we're going to go to what we can go to. I'm still going to ride futurity horses. I think that Wonder If I'm Lucky deserves to still be, at the Buckles and the Royal Crown. He can win a lot of money in his Derby year too. Balancing it is not going to be easy, but my husband is a horse trainer too. So he can ride my futurity colts. He can have them ready. He's trained them. He brought them to where they're at. And so we're a team here, and we're going to do our very best to spread it as thin as we can.
Well, and I will say, since you're designated Badlands circuit, there are some good cowgirls you could get some advice from as far as balancing the two. Lisa Lockhart, Jessica Ratier, Summer Kozel, they've all balanced the mom life and the NFR life. So we have no doubt that you can't do it either.
They are wonderful ladies. I look up to them in so many ways. Yes.
Heidi Gunderson, we appreciate your time. Congratulations on Denver. Continued success. You'll figure it all out, and we're looking forward to seeing you win some big money on this awesome young horse you've got. Thank you for your time today, Heidi.
Thanks, guys.
The champion of the National Western Stock Show and Rodeo in Denver, Heidi Gunderson. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, Alabama over the weekend. A $15,000 8-second ride for Boudreaux Campbell, who's going to fool around and make it back to the national finals this year. He's off to a big-time start. We'll tell you about it coming up on Western Sports Roundup.